we've got multiplying and dividing by 10, 100 or 1,000. Let's have the following number. Let's have 123 times 10 equals. All you need to do, you look at the 10. How many zeros are there in 10? Answer 1. At this point, you just write 1, 2, 3 and you bung a 0 at the end. If we had 123 times 100, the rules are the same. How many zeros are in 100? 2. So all you do is write equals 1, 2, 3, which is that number there, and bung on 2 zeros. 1, 2. Done. No prizes for guessing what it is when you times by 1,000. How many zeros in 1,000? 3. So you do equals 1, 2, 3, and then put the 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. The end. Done. One only other thing I want to cover is if this was to have changed somewhat, and we now, let me just rub these answers out, and we were to be cheeky and we put a decimal point in the way, so put one there, there. Let's make that a bit bigger for you. Well, there's no need to panic, because all you do is something slightly different. You say, right, how many zeros are there in 10? 1. And then you move the decimal point to the right by however many zeros. So all you do is you look at this decimal point and you jump it over here. So your answer will suddenly be 1, 2, 3 point, and then if you want you could put a 0 after it. There you go. Same here. How many zeros are in 100? 2. So this decimal point is going to jump twice. 1, 2. This one's slightly tricky because not only did it jump, it's jumped here, and you've got a gap that's appeared here, haven't you? There's a number under the first jump, but there's nothing under the second jump. So you need to write the following: 1, 2, 3, and where there's that gap there, you bung a 0 here. 0.0. Next one, 12.3 times 1,000. There's 3 zeros in 1,000, so this decimal point needs to jump 3 times to the right. So let me do it over here to make it easier to see. 1, 2, 3. There are 2 jumps with no numbers underneath them. So your answer is going to be, you put zeros under the jumps, you put your decimal point, and then you can put a 0 after that decimal point, and then you can scribble out your jumps. In fact, you should, whoops, let's make that a bit bigger. Okay, there you go. And we just scribble out the decimal point there and put our numbers closer to each other. 1, 2, 3, 0, 0, 0.0. In fact, let's make it really close together. And that's how you multiply by 10, 100 or 1,000. If we move on to dividing, all you do is the complete opposite. So if you have 1, 2, 3 divided by 10, then we go the other way. So that becomes, right, the best thing to do here is write 1, 2, 3, and then imagine a decimal point. There is no decimal point here, but we can imagine one at the end of this number. Now move it one to the left. So we now know that the decimal point has landed in between the 2 and the 3. So he's actually popped up over here, and there's your answer. Your answer is 12.3. Same again, 1, 2, 3 divided by 100. Once again, imagine the decimal point. So we do 1, 2, 3, and here's our imaginary decimal point. And there's 2 zeros in 100, so this must jump twice to the left. 1, 2. The decimal point has landed in between the 1 and the 2, so we bung that in, and that's done. That's your answer, 1.23. Finally, 1, 2, 3 divided by 1,000. We do, once again, we write it out. Imagine our decimal point is here, because we haven't got a decimal point to play with. And we move it 3 times, because there's 3 zeros in 100. 1, 2, 3. So the decimal point has landed over here. But you can't just leave it like that. You need to have a number on the left hand side. So we make one. We put a 0. And that's all you need to do. And then clean up your mess. So your answer is 0.123. If a decimal point has already been put for you, then don't reimagine a new one. You just move the existing decimal point. So if your question was, if the question was, I don't know, 14.5 divided by 10, then all you do is you do 14.5 and you just move the existing decimal point. So it goes over here. So now you know your answer is 1.45. Done.